So on our way from Worthersee to Salzburg, we got onto the GPS and there were multiple route options. We decided to go with the shortest distance, and where that put us was in line to get onto a train. We had no idea that this is where it was going to take us. We had asked a million questions while we were waiting with the other vehicles. But it was a really cool experience to get to ride a train through the tunnels of Austria and get to see some of the villages and countryside. And that was one of the main reasons why we rented a car, just so we could go out and explore and see these different areas that most people don't get to visit. So really neat experience, and glad that we didn't end up taking the highway like the other two routes had given us. So sometimes it's good to get off the beaten path. So last day here in Salzburg, Austria. It's been an awesome vacation overall, all things considered. So to tell a little bit about how this happened, it was one of the most beautiful rides, bike rides that we've gone on. We've been on a few really good ones this year, and just the mountain views were stunning, and the hills were tough. So after 2.5 hours of biking and a lot of ups, I think we ended up with over 4,000 feet of climbing in that 2.5 hours. And descending was not fast either because it was so steep on gravel. Moo! We had gone over this great bridge. It was a really small little bridge that was also gated and everything. So that was the only way to get through there besides opening up the gate. And on the way in, or the way up, we got off the bike because we realized how steep it was and probably wouldn't be able to get over. And we walked over. Move! I don't know. Move! It's a staring contest. I don't know. Well, we thought, or Stephen thought it'd be a good idea just to go on over on the way down. And, well, me trying to keep up and hang with him, I did the same, and I was right behind him, and before he had a chance to tell me it was probably not a good idea, I had already gone over it and flipped. So once I hit the bottom, there was just too much momentum going down, and maybe I wasn't holding strong enough to the bike that I just flipped right over and landed directly on the shoulder. Thank God there was a family there that had been up in those hills, up in the mountains, picking berries, and they saw the whole thing happen. They were getting ready to leave. They came up, and even I think before Stephen had a chance to get up, they were there to try to help me out, give me water. The lady, she hadn't spoken English in over 30 years. She said ever since she was in school, she had been reading books, and that's how she's kept up with it, but she hasn't actually spoken it. And then her parents that were with her, they spoke zero English. And so it was very tough at first communicating with them. But all they could tell us and communicate with us is that they wanted to help. And I think it was tough at first to accept their help, to be honest. We felt burdened. We felt like a burden, but we didn't really have any other options. So I don't know what we would have done if they weren't there. We were far from the bottom of the hill or to anybody else that was around. So they took us to the nearest hospital, which wasn't the one that they would typically go to, but all the roads were closed due to the 70.3 Ironman Zell race that was going on. So they shut down the main roads. And so we had to go to another village in their hospital. Out after everything was diagnosed that the ligaments in my shoulder that connect the shoulder to the collarbone have been either damaged or sprained or but not completely torn off. There was just some separation that it just needed healing, and check on it when I get back to the US. So hopefully that's all it is. Even though it's a lot more painful than I had expected. So anyways, they continued to help us. They took us back to their house, and we were in this like little, what we were like, is this like a man cave? Or it was just like a little cottage next to their house, and that the grandfather had built. Finally, around 4:30, when the roads were opened back up, the grandfather hooked up the trailer to the back of his car, took us back up to the hill where we had locked up our bikes, grabbed our bikes, went back down to the bottom, not even the bottom of the hill, but over to the next village over where we had started in Kaprun, and took us back to our car. And it was just truly a blessing that they were there to help us out that entire time, because again, not sure how we would have gotten help due to the roads being closed, and we were in such a remote location when it happened. So truly a blessing. And it's been pretty sore, not gonna lie. Even using this hand to pick up things has been difficult, I think, because there's some swelling and tenderness in the chest, and so it's pulling that. So traveling tomorrow all day with 2 bikes, a huge luggage, and 2 carry-on luggages, and 2 backpacks. It's gonna be interesting, to say the least. So yet again, another adventure, but I have absolutely fallen in love with Austria, which I knew I would. The people and the culture and the food is amazing. Holy cow. We've tried all the Austrian food that we could. We typically eat pretty much vegan, but here we've tried all kinds of meats and cheeses and everything, just because it's so fresh. And yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. It tastes different and really good. So it's been just an amazing trip, and we look forward to coming back someday soon.